more words. It stops. St. Croix is rooted in history. So much of it still remains untouched.
I remember running on these streets as a kid. This shop was right down there. It opened the same year I was born. This is where the original Crucian hook was born. It's the symbol of these islands. And I wanted to have my hands in that very same history. I want to be able to pass it down to my family while still putting a new spin on it.
The U.S. Virgin Islands, we have an amazing culture that developed over time from all over the world.
St. John feels so untouched. Being underwater is like another world. There's no worries, there's no stress. I can just escape. This is my happy place. My passion for scuba diving came at just being fascinated with the water and wanting to be a mermaid. And this is the closest thing I can get to achieving mermaid status. Canadians just love being outdoorsy. We live for adventure, so we love anything hiking, being on the water, diving, snorkeling, and St. John has it all.
It's like some spirit is protecting the island and keeping them raw. The Makujumbi watches over the island. From up there, they keep the evil spirits away.
Get down.
The nightlife in St. Thomas is absolutely amazing. There's always something going on. Everyone comes together to dance and catch a vibe. We're always celebrating. We celebrate freedom, culture, the food, the smell, the music. It's always a celebration. The people here are probably the most priceless thing because they keep the culture going. There's so many different influences on these islands. Food from all kinds of countries coming together in new dishes. All of us came from somewhere, but all of we call this home. The VI is a new melting pot. This is where the past and the future comes together.
Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Randy Dennis. Our next performer, in our opinion, is one of the most exciting in our industry. She's just back from her world tour, and she is something else. Here to perform her latest hit, Stand By, on the DMH record label. Put your hands together, gang, for Tracy Hamlin.
Too many days of working 9 to 5. Sometimes I can't believe that I'm still alive. And when I get home, I'll wait for you. 'Cause you said you make me feel brand new. You can't keep my love. You can't keep my love. Over and over, I've been waiting, baby. Can't keep my love. Oh, stand by. Over and over, it hurts me every time. You keep my loving on the line. It's your love I'm looking for. I want it more. I want it more. Yeah. Baby, you can't keep my love. Can't keep my love on standby. Over and over, I've been waiting, baby. Can't keep my love on standby. Over and over, I need the comfort of a man to give me his love whenever he can. Hold me real tight and never let go. I miss your touch, can't you see? How come you don't call me? Yeah. You can't keep my love. You can't keep my love. Over and over, over and over. You can't keep my love on standby. Oh yeah, you can't keep too many days on standby. Too many nights over and over. You can't keep my love on standby. Over and over, I've been waiting.
That what?
Wonderful memories.
Oh my gosh!
Keep my love. You want to get it back?
Tracy,
You want to get
that
it?
was Tracy.
Man,
Oh
she
my
killed that.
gosh.
Shoot.
Woo.
Shoot.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
You can't keep my love on
Oh,
the
my
standby.
Stand by.
That's classic.
That was beautiful. I really, folks, with us this evening on our live showcase, our music guest this evening is none other than Tracy Hamlin. Tracy, welcome to the program. Welcome to the Muse. We are just delighted that you're on the program this evening. I have been waiting for what, 2 weeks? We put you on the schedule about 2 weeks and just couldn't wait to get you on the show. I just love the composition of that music video. It just speaks to, I just think it just speaks to your creative style, your creative side of just, you are a full package. I mean, in terms of, you are a vocalist, you're a writer, so, it's just, the package is just beautiful. Welcome to the Muse.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Good. There's only one other person I think is more excited than me. I think Derek is, because you should have seen him backstage. He was actually grooving. When you bite that lip, does anybody still use that word grooving?
Yeah, they still do. They still do.
I use
really?
that word.
Yeah, they still do.
Really?
It ain't
Okay,
gone yet.
Okay.
It ain't gone yet.
So
Not yet.
what? So that you can't keep my love. What was the inspiration? Just that
Well,
project itself. You know, I mean, it's the words are everything. You know, I mean, you can't keep my love. I mean, take us into your head, take us into your mind.
Well, that particular song I did not write. That was written by a producer and songwriter that I've worked with named Raymond Barton. And we actually did that song 20 years before we released it on that particular CD album. So that album, yeah, so that album, that song was released in 2015 on my 5th studio album. And I had been listening to songs that I had done 20 years prior. And I said, you know, we're going to bring this song back because I love it. And so for my 5th album, I said, you know, we're going to bring this back. So we updated the sounds a little bit. And it's interesting because 20 years ago, I sang the song just like that. So it was interesting, you know, just hearing all of my influences and, you know, just pulling from my influences when I went to sing the song. But yeah, it's very close to what I had done 20 years prior.
That's just timeless. I mean, it's timeless. That if you can go back that far, I mean, musically, you know, music can have a tendency to be one of two things: either ridiculously trendy and you're sick of it after about the 3rd or 4th play,
right?
Or it's timeless. That means no matter when you hear it, it's gonna still give you that same feeling. And that song right there, that's my first time hearing it. And not my first time, I've heard it prior to that. But if I heard it 20 years from now, I would still have the same groove feeling. Yes, Anthony, I said groove.
You just said groove. You just said the word groove. Okay, all right, good.
Yeah, and I mean, I loved it. Raymond Barton, he's a great songwriter for female vocalists. And that's what I felt about the song, that it was timeless. And I said, I have to do it and make sure. I need for more people than the 10 people that heard it. I need more than these 10 people to hear the song. So I'm so glad you guys like it. And that was my first official video. You know, I'm an independent artist, so I don't have that cash machine behind me. So everything that I do, whether it's booking, whether it's recording, you know, my husband and I, we are orchestrating everything. So when it was time to do that video, you know, we found this, as a matter of fact, where I recorded my vocals in Baltimore. The videographer was a friend of the owner of the studio, and he put me down with the guy, his name is Jeffrey, to do the video. And, you know, just scheduling from the musicians to the people in the audience to getting all of the, you know, the proper papers signed, the release forms for folks to be in it and to feed those folks that came to find the building and the clothes, and starving myself so I can fit in the dress. So, it was a lot, but, you know, it was great memories watching that video because I hadn't seen it in a while.
Well, I got to tell you, you know, I want to share your background with folks because you have a pretty impressive background. You know, and I'm just gonna verbatim from your bio that you sent. Tracy Hamlin is a Baltimore-born, classically trained vocalist, songwriter, jazz fest. Now that's interesting. She's a jazz festival owner, not someone who attends a jazz festival or, you know, performs at a jazz festival. She is a jazz festival owner. So we got a lot to talk about. And she's an independent record label owner. I mean, you talk about a jazz festival owner, a record label owner. I mean, this is, I don't ever think I've ever seen that combination, that sort of package. It's that one thing in one package, right?
Well, first of all, I don't sleep. Anthony?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yes. Your screen froze for a moment. So I am someone, I've always aspired to be a singer and a teacher. So at one point for 10 years, I was a music teacher to kids of, I taught music appreciation to kids with dyslexia. For 10 years, one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. And as I led into my 10th year, I decided it's time for me to do a solo project. I had performed with Pieces of a Dream. You know, I had done a lot of local gigs. I used to do a lot of bar mitzvahs, and I sing in Hebrew too. But anyway, I said, you know, I couldn't get a record deal. So I am that person that when I couldn't get a record deal, I started my own label. When I wasn't getting booked for gigs, I became a promoter and created my own gigs. And when I didn't get booked for jazz festivals, I created my own. So it was not easy, but I said, you know, sometimes you have to create your own destiny, because opportunities, you know, opportunity doesn't come knock at your door. And again, because I don't have the cash machine behind me that can allow me to be on the Billboard charts, which is where for jazz festivals, people go to Billboard to see who's in the top 20. And that's how they book a lot of the artists. Well, I didn't have the cash machine to get me to those promoters, to get me on the charts. So I just had to create my own situations. And that's what I did.
Well, it's interesting that you speak of the business side, the ownership of the product that you are. And so, as you know, in continuing with your bio, it says that you are an executive producer, or you have produced, participated as an executive producer for 5 solo R&B / jazz albums. You said you have performed in over 50 countries as a solo artist, as lead vocalist with Pieces of a Dream, and as a lead background with vocalist with Disco Queen Gloria Gaynor. In addition, Tracy has performed with Carlos Santana, Marcus Miller, Shaka Khan, Wyona Judd, Esperanza Spalding, to name a few. Tracy stays current as a recording artist by constantly releasing soulful dance music singles in collaboration with international producers for a variety of record labels worldwide. Tracy's goal is to continue to perform and record internationally while inspiring and grooming up and coming artists. Bravo.
Goodness gracious.
And I also like to add that the charitable component to my festival was that students from low-income family received a 1-year scholarship of private music instruction, because music saved my life. And so if I can touch a life and, you know, use my career and my festivals and my recordings as a catalyst to help someone, you know, I was on it, and I was able to bless with the 2 years that I had my festival, I was able to bless 2 students with a year of private music instruction. And in the same way, pursuing this path changed my life. I watched it change and shape theirs. So,
yeah. Well, I could continue asking questions. I know, Derek, you got some questions that you got to ask, but you know, I'll follow up with that after Derek.
Listen, you know, looking at your resume, we talked about this a little bit prior to, you know, us coming on the air. The people that you have worked with, I mean, Game recognized Game. Icons only hang with icons. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Carlos Santana, Marcus Miller, Shaka Khan. You know, and we talked about, and I just want you to speak to what it was like, because we talked about this. This is one of my favorite artists. Just speak to what it was like working with Esperanza Spalding, because a lot of people, unless you are really deep into like jazz and really soulful, you may not know the name Esperanza Spalding, but that is a name that will definitely go down in music history. And just take a few minutes, Tracy, and talk about Miss Esperanza, working with her.
Yes, well, we also have to mention that she beat Justin Bieber for Best New Artist for the Grammy that year as well. I mean, she's just amazing. So we call her SB. I met her when I booked her to do an event that I used to do. I used to book it was a private music event that became a music festival. And I booked the talent there for 9 years. And I booked her to come and perform. She was the sweetest, most talented person I've ever met in my life, in this petite frame. And so I got to work with her 2 months later. I had returned to St. Lucia, and she was performing for the St. Lucia Jazz Festival. She heard I was on the island and said, "Hey, I have a new song coming out with Algebra. but she's not here. Can you perform it with me? And it was literally the night before. So they sent me the track. I had to learn the song, memorize the song, no rehearsal. And literally before, as they were introducing Esperanza to go on stage, I was like, wait a minute, do I start or do you start the song? And we got up there and, you know, it was so much fun performing with her because she is just amazing. And it's wonderful when you meet super talented people that are wonderful human beings.
Yeah.
You know, because that doesn't always go hand in hand. So she was really sweet.
Speaking of St. Lucia, right? I got to share with you. I attended my first St. Lucia Jazz Festival several years ago. And I was just completely surprised how professionally done that festival was. And when I heard that you had a connection to it, my lady, she's St. Lucian, and so she goes back to St. Lucia every year for the St. Lucia Jazz Festival. And when I told her I had you on the show this week, she said, "Tracy, yeah, I know Tracy." Tracy is someone that I've seen her perform several times at the St. Lucia Jazz Festival. I think she said you performed with one of her friends, Bo. Bo, what's Bo's like? Is it Bo something?
Boo Hinkson. It's Ronald Boo Hinkson. Everybody calls him Boo. He's well known on the island. And yeah, St. Lucia is my second home. And working with Boo is how I got to St. Lucia in the first place. So I have since been to St. Lucia somewhere between 58 and 60 times. Literally. So it is my second home. It's truly my second home.
It's Lucians that ain't even been to St. Lucia that many times.
I know, right? Yeah, they keep saying we're going to give you an honorary passport because when I get there, get to the airport, everybody's like, Tracy, hey, she's back, hey. So it's great to be in another country to feel that at home.
So speaking of jazz festival, right? So what's as a jazz festival owner, is that the jazz festival or it's another jazz festival you own?
It's another jazz festival. I live in Virginia, and this jazz festival was in Virginia in Loudoun County. And the first year I had Alex Bugnon, Gerald Albright was my headliner. I had Cindy Bradley, and of course I had me. And then the second year I had Rick Braun. I brought in Alex Bugnon again. I had Eric Essex, Kim Scott, Art Sherrard, and me. And each year, I made sure that we had local talent perform as well. So it was pretty awesome I have always dreamt of doing my own jazz festival. So to see it come to fruition just, made me a little weepy.
So before we go too far off from this vein right here, so there's probably some young people out there that are aspiring artists, that are singers and musicians and things like that. Because you have owned so much of what you do, just briefly speak to the power and the freedom of ownership when it comes to being a musician and an artist, and how that has what has that done for you, and maybe it can help someone else who's following in that same path.
Well, it's been wonderful on so many levels because, for one, I own my masters. So as someone who gets paid for performance royalties, I not only get paid as a performing artist, I also get paid for being the owner of the masters. And so, and because I'm an independent artist, I'm not tied to anybody. So I can move about as I please. And it's amazing to have that freedom because early in my career, I signed contracts that were not in my best interest. And I was kind of stuck for a while. Wow. And so after I got out of the bad contract, I decided, you know what, I am going to create my own destiny, and I'm never going to put myself in a situation where I'm stuck and I don't have control over the artist that I want to be. Because even back in the day when folks were shopping me to different record labels, because of my versatility, the labels would say, well, what does she want to be? Because I can sing pop, I can sing country, I can sing, I can sing a little bit of everything because that's what I do.
Wait a minute. You can sing country? What?
You see Winona Judge?
Country. Yeah, so I did background for Winona. but country is one of my favorite genres, just period, because of the quality of the production and the lyrical content of the songs. But, you know, these record labels, they want to pigeonhole you. And because of my versatility, I'm like, I want to do what feels great to me. And so it was great when I did my first project back in 2005 to follow my heart and do the songs that I wanted to sing. And, you know, the only person that had to approve it was me. So you know, that was pretty cool that, yeah, I mean, I could bring in who I wanted to bring in to help shape the songs that I was singing or writing. And it was just a great feeling to follow my heart and not have to be put in a box.
Now, D, if you know anything about St. Lucia and St. Lucians, right? There's no way on planet Earth she's gone to St. Lucia 58, 60 times and not have this rub off on her. St. Lucians love their country music.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
I know. I mean, when she said she can do country, and she's part St. Lucian. I mean, she wasn't born there, but I mean they've adopted her, so there's an honorary status situation, and so that whole country thing is part of, you know.
Look, my mother's neighbor was from St. Lucia, and on Saturday mornings. On Saturday mornings, mamas don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. But I mean, it'll be all kind of whatever. Clint Black, I mean, whoever you could think.
Yeah, it's really big.
Wow.
Yeah, folks think reggae because it's an island, but they are big in country western music over there.
Country music.
Well, you know, it's funny, right? Because you know, if I knew you love country, I would have said, you know what? Guess what? Tracy's going to perform live on the show tonight. Okay, she's going to perform live. We just love when artists, you know, step up their game, and it's like, you know, we're going for it. We're going to show you that we're the real deal. We're going to perform live. But you know, if I knew you perform country, I would have won. I would have said, "Listen, can you do some country? Can you do some country?"
Well, you know, years ago, I used to do Patsy Cline's "Crazy," so that was my introduction to it all. But I just, you know, as I got older, I just started listening because I learned a lot as a vocal producer, as a songwriter, as a vocalist. You know, I take notes, and I just love the quality of the production.
Wow. So what we're going to do on that note, let's take a break, and we'll come back. We'll continue our conversation with Tracy Hamlin. She is our featured guest artist on our live music showcase tonight. And like I said, she's going to also perform live tonight. You can't listen. I got the preview of her performance, so I'm telling you don't want to miss this, right? Tracy, the MUZE is on Tempo Network cable television, which is seen throughout the United States and throughout the entire Caribbean and Suriname and Guyana. So if any of your St. Lucian peeps you want to say anything to, this is your opportunity, because they will see you, and if you haven't seen them in a while, you may want to give them a shout out or something, because they're going to remember, hey Tracy, I saw you in Tempo, But when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Tracy. Folks, this is the MUZE. We'll be right back.
Stuff, but that ain't no reason to come home and treat me rough and don't really get the way you treat me. Thought that you supposed to love me. Thought you said it's forever and a day. Now you just keep throwing me shade. I really don't understand what the problem is, man. If you just talk to me, maybe we can make it right. If you just talk to me, we can do this, we'll get I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with this? When you're everything that I need, and you used to be the only one I see, but now you're acting like you don't care for me. If you just talk to me, maybe we can make it right. Yeah. If you just talk to me, we can do this, we'll get through this. If you just talk to me, maybe we can make it right. If you just talk to me, we can do this, we'll get through this. What happened to the love that felt oh so rare? When you said believe me, 'cause loving you is easy. And where did our fairy tales go? What happened to the one who used to love me so? If you just talk to me, maybe we can make it right. If you just talk to me, we can do this, we'll get through this. If you just talk to me, maybe we can make it right. If you just talk to me, we can do this, we'll get through this. Talk to me, talk to me.
I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo. Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dancehall. Don't stall, better get tuned in to the tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. Mr. Latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. Mr. Latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo.
All right, folks, welcome back. This is the Muse, and this is our live showcase. Our special guest this evening is none other than Tracy Hamlin. Tracy, welcome back to the Muse. Listen, you just keep rolling in with these. I mean, are you producing? Who's doing the creative behind your videos?
It's different people. So the video for Just Talk to Me was a girlfriend of mine who we went out for drinks one night, and she said, "Let me do a video on you." And I said, what is that? You know, what will that look like as far as cost and players and things like that? So again, I'm an independent artist. So that video was shot at my house. The love interest was my husband because I did not have to pay him. And we put on clothes together from my closet.
I hope he ain't feeling slighted right now. He's like, hold on, wait. So you paid some other people?
Yeah, so, but, he was like, hey, well, it turns out I'm free. I guess, I can make myself available for this.
That's too funny. Well, tell him he did a great job.
Yes. Honey, you did a great job.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet. So, you shared with us that your first trip to the Caribbean was an island, a particular island.
Yes.
Yeah, talk to us about that. Talk about that.
Well, I used to do the whole pageant scene. So I'm from Baltimore. I was Miss Baltimore at one point, and then I was Miss Maryland. And for that particular pageant, when I went to the Nationals, I was third runner-up. And the winner of that year's pageant was from St. Croix. And so all of the ladies that were runner-ups, we got an invitation to come to perform in St. Croix. And it was absolutely amazing. My first trip to the Caribbean, and it was so much fun. And it was, it was great to experience people, experience the food, and saying that's when I started falling in love with the Caribbean from that trip. And that was many moons ago.
And I think you said one of the things you shared with me says it was like you going to Europe, you said, right? It's like you.
Yeah, in my mind at the time, even though it's U.S. territory, in my mind, I was leaving the country and experiencing something different. So I
ain't never coming back to these.
And it's the only time I've been to St. Croix, so I need to come back. Hey.
That's right. That's right. All right. Hint.
Right.
Make that happen. So let's talk a little bit about your aspiration for wanting to work with kids, up and coming artists. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you created your own label. Talk to us about the motivation behind it, the drive behind that, and talk about some of the things you're doing currently in that space, if you can share that with us.
You're breaking up, but I think you asked about my passion to work with students and
with up and coming artists, having your own label, working with up and coming artists, young folks. What is that like? That motivation to do, the drive to do that.
So it's something that I absolutely love, especially working with females, because I definitely made some mistakes along the way, and I love just donating my time, giving back to my community, to sit with folks and mentor up and coming artists, to just share my journey and to listen to what their ideas are and the paths that they're interested in taking. And the biggest thing is to, just to share my story so that they won't make some of the same mistakes that I made, like getting into the wrong contract. And one of the things that I always tell upcoming artists is that you have to understand that the music business is a business. And it is extremely important that no matter what, you continue to perfect your craft. I mean, I've been around the world. I have 5 projects. I still practice. I'm constantly working towards being better than I am.
Now, you said you also worked in your bio. You said you also worked with children that were dyslexic.
Dyslexic, yes, I did that for 10 years, music appreciation, and it taught me a lot of patience. And I couldn't believe, for 8 of the 10 years, I couldn't believe I got paid to do it. That's how much I loved it. And it forced me to really dig down deep and to be a lot more creative because, with music programs, there are not a lot of budgets. So, we didn't have a lot of financing to get the instruments and things that I needed. So I was constantly just going above and beyond and even going into my own pocket to make sure that I could make a difference in the most rewarding things I've done in my life.
Wow. That's good. Sweet. Just as a point of reference, I don't know, your internet keeps freezing, and so I don't know if someone else is using your internet in your space, because that happens sometimes. If somebody's on their device, it takes up the bandwidth. So just an FYI, because I know when you perform, obviously you don't want that. We don't want that kind of hiccup, while you're performing. So just in case, if anybody's in the background using the internet, you may want them to tell them to, hold off until after you're done with it. Yeah. So anyway. What I want to do before we go to break, the other question I have, you've worked with so many big name artists, right? How much of that played into your career, where you are, and the success that you've had in the industry? Is it really all about who in the business and the development of your career as a singer, and as a producer, as just an entertainer? How much of that inner circle, knowing these big name artists that you perform with, work with? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, my greatest vocal inspiration is a female vocalist by the name of Renee Diggs. And she used to sing with the 80s group Starpoint. And she's somebody that I studied and imitated her. And that combined with my classical experience just really helped me to grow into the vocalist that I am today. But I think that anything in life is all about relationships. And, so having relationships can get you one opportunity to the next, but it's all about being prepared. You can't be getting ready. You have to be ready. And that's one of the things that I stress to people that I work with. And so, for instance, the Carlos Santana connection was because of a guitar maker that I was working with. And because I went to do some gigs with him in California, I was able to connect with Carlos Santana. And from that relationship, I was able to do some shows with him. So relationships are extremely important. And when I'm out there working, like when I was on the road with Gloria Gaynor for years, constantly taking notes. I sing with Will Downing sometimes, constantly taking notes, because for me, it's all about making sure that I continue to grow, because if I don't continue to grow, I'm going to get bored and I won't continue to enjoy what I'm doing. So I take notes from everybody that I work with. And, and I'm always mindful about how I deal with people, making sure that I am kind and polite and I treat people the way that I want to be treated. So that makes a big difference as well.
Wow.
With how did you I know Chicago has a gigantic house scene.
Mm-hmm.
Is it big on the East Coast? How did you get into doing house music? Because I love house music.
Well, Baltimore has a huge house music community. And I started working back in the day. I did a lot of demos for DJ Spin, who was working with the Basement Boys, who are the brains behind Crystal Waters and Gypsy Woman and 100% Pure Love. Excuse me. So back in the day, I did a ton of demos and had a very successful song called Time and Time Again. And so in 2012, it's so interesting how things work. A friend of mine had gotten a record label and a production deal. And he said, hey, I want to do some house music with you, but he kind of took a long time. So I went into the studio. I recorded a song and said, I'm going to record this song. And with the mindset of taking the song to him to ask him to remix it. And if he hears it, he's going to love it and he's going to put it out on his label. And so that's what happened. So I called him and said, hey, I got this song. Can you do a remix? He was like, oh my God, I love this. Can I put this out on my label? And I said,
I wonder where that idea came from.
And so from there, I just, just started cranking them out. And the more music I released, the more that producers from all over the world started inboxing me. And it's interesting now because people don't use my website. They use my social media to find out if I work with them. So I do my research when they reach out. And I mean, I've recorded multiple songs with different Japanese producers, Italian producers, Dutch producers, lots of folks from the UK. And it's, with house music, I'm recording at home since the pandemic. So I'm just cranking songs out, sometimes 2 a month.
Wow. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, Tracy is going to perform live. Folks, you got to strap yourself in. It's a treat. This woman her vocals, man, she can, woo. Anyway, man. So
I showed all my teeth. I showed all my teeth when I heard that.
Oh, my goodness. So, folks, our featured guest, music guest on the live showcase of the Muse is Tracy Hamlin. We'll be right back after these messages.
All right.
You know you are a hot one. We are lime, we are laugh, we are chat, we no chill, we are hot one. Temperature rise, beer vibes in ya, this a hot one. Link up, connect, bust a sweat when you're the on the hot one. We gonna spice it up like fire. To watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo. Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dance, oh, don't stall, better get tuned in to the Tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. Mr. Latest in Caribbean news? Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too? Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. Mr. Latest in Caribbean news? Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too? Tempo.
To the Muse, and we are delighted to have our featured special guest artist on the Muse Live Showcase, of none other than Tracy Hamlin, and she is going to take us out this evening by performing live on the program. And so, Tracy, I don't know if you're ready. I know Derek is ready. I'm ready.
I am ready.
Are you ready?
I am ready. Yes.
All right.
This is a song
What was yours?
recorded from my 5th album called This Is Your Life. Yeah, yeah. This is your life. You're living, and it's the only one you got. It's your life. You're giving. Don't you think it's time that you asked yourself for what? This is your life, not a game that you play. It's your life, and you're throwing it away. You're around the worst one, and I'm in the town, and everyone knows that I still love you so. That precious wine you tasted will be bitter when you're done. It's your life, you're wasted. Don't you think it's sad that you had to start so young? This is your life, not a merry-go-round. It's your life, and you can't live it down. You're around the worst one, and I'm in town, and everyone knows that I stay love you so. This is your life, not a merry-go-round. Oh, you're just a runaround. It's your life, and it's my life too. This is your life, but if you throw it away, you're not thinking of the love we had yesterday. Whoa, whoa. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is your life. This is your life.
Bravo.
Man, look, God dog it.
Whoop, whoop,
God dog it. I swear for God. Look here now.
That's what I'm
Look
talking
here
about.
now. Look here now. Listen. There's people that sing, and then there's people that sing. You see the eyes? Sing.
I see the eyes.
Them notes, Anthony, listen, that's the testament of a true vocalist when they can sing just like in their living room or wherever they just break out in the song. There ain't no auto-tune, ain't no computers. It's just you and a microphone, and that microphone is just like, yo, come on, bring it. You know that you did that, Tracy. You did that.
Well, thank you.
You did that. You made my locks unravel. That you did that. Your husband. I know he your husband like this right now. Yeah, that's my wife. That's my wife. When my wife do cool stuff, I be like that. That's my wife. Your husband, he's on shoulder right now. Andy, look over there. He's on shoulder. He like that's my wife right there.
You are making my face hurt.
Oh, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Thank you so much.
You got to come back. You got to come back.
Please.
You got to come back. Tracy.
I would love to. I mean, I just want to thank you guys for this amazing opportunity. You know, it's because of folks like you that independent artists like me get a platform, and you know, I get introduced to your audience. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's just absolutely phenomenal. And we're just so honored that we get to experience this with you as well, to be part of that, journey with you and to become now one part of the family, the fan of Tracy Hamlin. Thank you so much for that. Really enjoyed that. It was a blessing. Thank you so much for that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, man. So D, I know we didn't get to do Lando tonight, but
right.
Could you? What do you think Lando would have said if Lando was here and Tracy blowing like that?
He probably would have asked to try to figure out how he could do a duet with you. Because he smoke a cigarette that make him a jazz singer.
Oh my!
I say, listen, man, just because you smoke a cigarette, you don't button your shirt properly, that don't make you a jazz singer, man. It takes more than that. So he probably would have been trying to figure out how to get on your next project, which is probably good he ain't show up.
I know. So, Tracy, please accept our invitation to be back on the program. We look forward to having you back.
My pleasure.
And much success in terms of your career. Let's go out. This is her latest project called Just Talk to Me. Folks, stay tuned for Tracy and her future project. Thanks, Tracy, for being on the MUZE. Have a good night, folks. We'll talk then. Right.
Thank you so much.
But that ain't no reason to come home and treat me rough and don't really get the way you treat me. Thought that you supposed to love me. Thought you said it's forever and a day. Now you just keep throwing me shade. I really don't understand what the problem is, man. If you just talk to me, maybe we can make it right. If you just talk to me, we can do this, we'll get through this. If you just talk to me, maybe we can make it right. If you just talk to me, we can do this, we'll get through this. What used to be so simple is shady. You're acting like you don't love me, baby. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with this? When you're everything that I need, and you used to be the only one I see, but now acting like you don't care for me. If you just talk to me, maybe we can make it right. If you just talk to me, we can do this. this, we'll get through this. If you just talk to me, maybe we can make it right.
I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo.